Welcome to Spenny and the Nets, episode 259. That's right, we're almost at the big 260 of Spenny and the Nets, formerly known as Fireside Nets with Spen and Nick. We have a show for you today, and I'm getting a call from my sometimes co-host Nick Shanman, so I'm going to pick up and we're going to talk Nets for about the first 30 seconds of this show. Hey Nick, you're live to tape on Spenny and the Nets.
Hey, what's up?
I know you're busy right now and you did not call to co-host the show, but now that I have you, why don't you give me one word to describe your take on this upcoming Nets team?
Cautiously optimistic.
That's two words, Nick.
All right. Cautious.
Cautious. Cautious is the word he describes. Nick, sometimes a co-host of the show, happy to hear from you. And I'm sure this is just a brotherly call. What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
This is just a brotherly call to talk because we're brothers, share the last name, share the same blood, the same parents, etc. But yeah, Nick, and I love to hear from you. Maybe you can co-host the show sometime.
All right. See you later.
Goodbye. All right. Wow, what a guy. AKA my little brother Nick. Big Nets fan, lives in Brooklyn, eats, sleeps. I wouldn't necessarily say breathe the Nets, but enjoys them to a certain extent. All right. We got a few things to talk about this week. I did not record for the last 2 weeks, and that's because nothing has happened. It's been very dry, bare bones out there. But you know what? I can't go more than 2 weeks without talking about this team and without giving you guys a podcast. So here we go. Let's get started. Seeing a lot of Jaeger edits, a lot of people putting together clips. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Here's what I am a bit worried about when it comes to the young Russian Jaeger Joman. Summer League went almost too well for him. I mean, he looks bigger. He was clowning everyone in Summer League in terms of the opposition. It just looked easy for him, which is what you want to see. But expectations are pretty high now in year two. And I'm just worried that he's not going to live up to the hype that has been generated from the preseason. We may get disappointed in year two. I hope I'm wrong. But it's one of those things when everyone starts telling you, you got to go to this restaurant, check out this restaurant. It's the best restaurant in Manhattan. Gets hyped up in your head a little too much. So I'll say this. I don't think that Jaeger Joman's going to be as sort of one-dimensional as he was in year one. I do think we're going to see a little bit of growth to his game. I do think some of the habits and just overall level of play that we saw in Summer League, some of that will be showcased in this next year, in year two for him. But I want to just temper expectations for a second. The kid is still extremely young. This is still not a team expected to contend in the top 7 or 8 in the East. So I just want fans to understand we might not get Luka Doncic in year two. Might take a little bit for him to get to that sort of peak level of play that he'll get to, but I do think we're gonna see the growth. We're gonna see the leaps in play. He is gonna body guys a little bit more. He's gonna be a little bit more aggressive going to the rim. I'd like to see his decision making improve a bit. He did not handle the ball super well last year. Coughed it up a bit, but yeah, let's just not crown this guy the savior of the Nets right now. Let's let him play a few regular season games first in year two. All right, that was my first take. Now we have this Michael Porter Jr. stuff. So I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I'm a follower of Brooklyn Netcast. They never cease to stop tweeting about the Nets. They're a good account at Brooklyn Netcast, CAST Netcast. They tweeted an hour ago, if Michael Porter Jr. isn't extended before Wednesday, he would not be eligible to be traded at the trade deadline if he were to receive an extension anytime after. Clock's ticking. They spelled where, they spelled were the wrong were. They spelled it where. But that's okay. We're not the spell check police here on Spenny and the Nets. Let's see if I understand this right. So if he doesn't get an extension, he's not eligible to be traded the trade deadline, if he were to, I don't really understand this tweet, but I think they should extend him. I don't know what more you could have asked from him last year in his first year with the Nets. Give him some money, show that you're committed to building this thing with him in the mix. Yeah, I don't know. I look, you're not gonna. What are you gonna do? Not extend him and then try to trade him prior to the trade deadline, to try to get younger? Like, I just you need a few vets on this team. I do think him and Julius Randle, from a basketball perspective, might be a little redundant. I do see the Nets staggering their minutes, and I guess in closing time in the start of the game, yeah, they'll play together. But I think throughout, you'll see either Randle or Porter Jr. run heavy with the second unit, and the other guy will run a little bit heavier with the first unit. But he's proven that like what else could you have asked from him last year? He was your best player by a mile. He was a borderline all-star. He could have won you some games if you were trying to win games. And the young guys seem to like him. Like he has seemed to be a very good veteran for this ball club. So why not give him the money? That's my take because I really don't understand the tweet. He would not be eligible to be traded at the trade deadline if he were to receive an extension. It just doesn't make sense to me. They should have worded this tweet better. Yeah, yeah, I'm not the only one who's confused. Brooklyn Netcast, I like you guys, but figure it out. You're gonna tweet news, make it legible for the people reading it to understand. All right, this is called checking in on some former Nets. I saw some Cam Johnson highlights recently, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I got nostalgic. I liked Cam Johnson a lot in Brooklyn. I think his first year it was very shaky. But after that, I mean, after McHale left and it was the Cam Johnson show, he was fun. He was a good player. Now he was not a true number one. I don't think he should be expected to do something like he did in Brooklyn for any other team. But as a two or a three, like as a three, because I think two's put. I don't know if he can be a great two. I don't know if he can be a two on a championship team. Like look at the teams that have won recently. You know, the Knicks, Cat, OG, that was the two and the three respectively. Before that, it was the Thunder, J Dub. With the Nuggets, it was Jamal Murray. With the Celtics, it was Jalen Brown. Like these are guys that have had better basketball careers than Cam Johnson. But in terms of being a spacer, in terms of being a guy who can help the Denver Nuggets get back and potentially win another championship in that Michael Porter Jr. role, which I think he can do very well. Um, yeah, this is just sort of a Cam Johnson appreciation thing. Saw a few highlights, some Nuggets fans getting excited, and I'll tell you this: I respected him as the one more than I respected Mikal Bridges as the one. If we're being completely honest with ourselves. He was a more fun one for me to watch on two teams that really I didn't expect much from. Maybe that Mikal Cam Johnson team at first, we expected a little bit more fight. Obviously, that was not a good team, and Mikal clearly wasn't the one either. Maybe the 4 or the 5 on the Knicks championship team. So, just putting that out there. But shout out to Cam Johnson. This one is very fun, and I love talking about stories like this. Ben Simmons. Yes, the Ben Simmons that was traded in the James Harden trade to the Brooklyn Nets. Spent, I want to say, a little under 2 years here, did close to nothing. Um, he has the report from Mark J. Spears. He has regained his athleticism and is feeling the best he has in years. This is all surrounding, I wouldn't say rumors, I would say flat out an Instagram statement from Ben Simmons, who posted a picture of himself flexing on a basketball court indoors, pretty much saying that he's coming back. He wants to play in the NBA. He's put it out there, and there have been some rumors. I don't know if there's I saw a report that the 76ers could be a good fit for him as the backup point guard. Could you imagine that? The way things ended at Philadelphia with Doc Rivers saying we can't win a championship with him as our point guard. Essentially, he didn't say that verbatim. But he answered a question: can you win a championship with Ben Simmons as your point guard? I think Doc Rivers' answer was I don't know. It was no. It was definitely not yes. All right. And I don't remember the quotes verbatim, but The way that ended, Joel Embiid was not happy with him. He left on such bad terms with Philadelphia. If he were to go back to join this super squad of Maxey Embiid, Jalen Brown, LeBron James, got some bench pieces in Contavious Caldwell Pope, Dean Wade coming off the bench, LeBaron Philon. LeBaron Philon's the only reason I don't think that if you're the Sixers, you do take Ben Simmons because you have a backup point guard. You don't need another point guard. But wow, what I mean, first of all, the amount of times that Ben Simmons has to tell the public that he is okay to play basketball and wants to play in the NBA over the last 3 or 4 years has been ridiculous. I just look, it seems like he's good at fishing. You know, it seems like he's found some success there. No one is judging him as a fisherman. No one talks about his inability to hit free throws or shoot outside the paint when he's at sea. I mean, good for him. Trying to come back. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. I don't know if I'd look at his tenure with the Clippers and say like, "Oh, I want that guy on my basketball team." I don't really see it. And I love we play around with this. Oh, well, he can be a backup center. He can be like a point center. We haven't seen that work yet in Brooklyn or in LA. He might make a hook shot every few times he enters the game. Outside of that, he's not good anymore. His defense is below average. He's not quick enough anymore to hang with guards. He's not big enough to defend centers. Offensively, as a coach of the opposing team, it's very easy to just be like, hey guys, 5-on-4, cover the four, give him whatever he wants outside of 10 feet. You have to be able to shoot at this point. If in this version of the NBA, it's very rare where guys can't hit threes. It's very rare where guys can't hit mid-range jump shots. He can't do either. So to whoever picks him up, he's good for, I don't know, a highlight every other game. You'll see something that reminds you of the old Ben Simmons, but in terms of that consistent 20 and 10 guy we saw in Philadelphia, it seems like 100 years ago, that guy's not coming back. He's just not. His tenure with the Nets was a disaster. His tenure in LA was short-lived. It's just, I mean, fans, if you're a fan of a bad team, I guess it'd be kind of exciting. But yeah, I just seeing that news, because as a Nets fan, we saw that like the 2 years he was here, it was, oh, he's back. Look at this clip of him working out, hitting jump shots. I mean, I don't know how many times that the NBA media and just the NBA in general have to go through the same song and dance with this guy. He's not getting younger. He's not getting more. He regained his athleticism. What the fuck does that mean? You don't lose athletic. You might not be durable. You might not be able to move your best, but you don't just lose athleticism and then regain it. This isn't Space Jam. All right, let's move on to another former Net. The Cavs are reportedly shopping Dennis Schroeder. And this is at Insider J on Twitter. There's Insider, it's INS 2 I's DERJA 2 Y's. Insider J on Twitter. I don't know why I had to pronounce it like that. He says, definitely something the Nets should consider. Training camp will say a lot about Nolan and Ben's development. If they haven't made steady improvement, bring Dennis in. Think about that for a second. You bring Dennis Schroeder in to back up Michael Brown Jr., and you admit defeat on 2 of the 5 guys you took last year in Nolan Traore and Ben Surratt. Drake Powell did not have a good G League, right? The only one to put on in this year's G League for the Nets was Jaeger Jumpman. Mikel Brown Jr. had some flashes. Danny Wolf played all right. I think he had a game or two. He looked all right. Like I don't think he's regressed or gotten better. I think Danny Wolf, at least from Summer League, looks to appear to be the same. He's just He's a guy, if he can get his 3-point shooting up, Danny Wolf will be a player in the NBA because he's shown me enough in year one, passing the ball, rebounding the ball, decision making, that he belongs in the NBA. The NBA is not too fast for him. He just needs to be able to shoot the ball because he's not a post up big. But if you admit defeat on Nolan Traore and Ben Saraf after year one, you bring Schroeder in, that's a really bad fucking draft of first 5 round picks of going two of five at best with Jaeger and Danny Wolf, admitting defeat on Powell, Traore, and Saraf. That would be a horrible look. I think I said this. I said this when Marks drafted the 5 guys. I said you have to hit on 3 of 5. That doesn't mean that 3 guys have to be superstars. That's not what I meant. But three out of 5 guys have to be in this rotation of this young up and coming Nets team. I think 2 of 5 is a failure because you could have traded 3 of those picks to get a higher first round pick. But yeah, I look, it's a fun thought. Dennis really enjoyed playing in Brooklyn. He loved playing under Jordy. They had great chemistry. He won us too many games when he was playing with that squad. And I don't know, every time I've tuned in to watch Dennis Schroeder since his Nets departure. So I believe it was what? It was he went to Golden State. He got traded there quick. He might have went somewhere else and then it was the Cavs. He's bounced around a lot. He is a savvy veteran. He can get you buckets. He's a pest defensively. He's one of those guys. I see how many teams he's played for, and I scratch my head and I say, why wouldn't a team just keep him around? You don't think he could have helped out Indiana, and backed up Halliburton there? I know they got McConnell over there, but I think to me, Schroeder's a better backup point guard than TJ McConnell. You don't think he could have helped out the Spurs last year? That's a bad example. They're point guard heavy, so scratch that example. But like, I don't know. Teams like the Thunder who had Mitchell hurt throughout that series. I mean, Dennis Schroeder is a good point. He's a good backup point guard. He is. And he, along with Cam Johnson, those were 2 guys I really like to see in Nets uniforms. Dennis Schroeder, you want to talk about effort? You never had to question that when he stepped on the court. Love Dennis Schroeder. So that's a little bit on former Nets. This next segment, kind of sad. It is sad. RIP Donnie Nelson. Don Nelson won 5 championships as a member of the Boston Celtics during the 60s and 70s. He had the all-time win record as a coach, most victories as a head coach in the NBA until Greg Popovich surpassed that, I believe, in 2012. And then he's remembered by me and my generation as the coach of the We Believe Warriors. Beat the Mavericks as an 8th seed. Steven Jackson, Baron Davis, Matt Barnes. Donnie Nelson was the coach of that team. Longtime Mavericks coach, seemed like the man. I heard, I'm sorry. I have some stats here. Let's see. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2012 that Popovich surpassed him. It was 2022 where Greg Popovich surpassed Donnie Nelson for all-time victories in the NBA. As a head coach, he coached for 31 years. Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, and Dallas Mavericks. He made the playoffs 18 times. He led the exciting high-scoring teams, including the Run TMC era with the Golden State Warriors. That was Tim Hardaway Jr., why can't I remember his name? And Mitch Richmond. Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin and Mitch Richmond. And then he was, as I mentioned, that coach of the historic 2007 We Believe Warriors that upset the top seeded Mavericks. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And in 2025, he received the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award. I was listening to a clip from Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's podcast. They talked about when they beat the Mavericks in that We Believe series. They celebrated like crazy. And basically, they were invited into Donnie Nelson's penthouse in the hotel they were staying at. And Donnie Nelson goes, "Hey guys, Snoop's rolling up some joints." And I don't know another story of an NBA head coach encouraging his players to smoke joints after they won a first round series, but that was Donnie Nelson. He sounds like he was a player's coach, and you ever hear NBA players talk about him, they speak very highly of him. So RIP to him. Um, and the NBA suffered a big loss this week. All right. That's all the content I have for today. Like I said, not a lot going on. I am going to try to do one more segment, and it is called oh, here we go. This is a bit of news, part of the whole former Nets. Evan Sidery has reported that Cam Thomas has received little to no interest as an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Even though Thomas is a gifted scorer, concerns arise with his character and inability to play a winning brand of basketball. The 24-year-old was cut by the Nets and Bucks last season. That is insane that no one wants to take a chance on Cam Thomas. And that just goes to show you how different the 2026 NBA is. You got to be able to defend. You cannot be a one-dimensional player unless, I mean, there are obviously exceptions to the rule, but as elite as Cam Thomas is as a scorer, and I would argue that he's a top 25 scorer in the league, maybe top 30. He is in that range where he can score with the best of them, but he doesn't do anything else particularly well or particularly above average. And that's why teams don't want him. Very interesting. Wow. Evan Sodery. That was a good report to almost end the show. All right, this next segment, it's called Let's Hear from Spen's Friends. I'm going to call some friends. I was going to call my brother. I'm not calling him anymore. We're going to get their takes on the Brooklyn Nets. Now, fair warning, most of these guys are Knicks fans, so I don't think it's going to go the best. But you know what? Let's give it a try. So first off, I'm going to call my friend Joe. Here we go.
I help you, sir.
Joe, you're live to tape on the Spenny and the Nets podcast. We wanted your opinion on the Brooklyn Nets this season.
Probably one of the best teams in basketball.
Yeah, why is that? Because of the rookie play from Michael Brown Jr. or Michael Porter Jr.?
Julius Randle being the best New York athlete to never win a championship other than Patrick Ewing.
Wow. All right, wise words. Thanks, Joe. We'll call you another time.
Bye.
There you have it. I mean, Joe, diehard Knicks fan, thinks that the Nets are going to be the best team in the world because Julius Randle. And you can tell there was no sarcasm in his voice when he said that. All right, let's try somebody else. We'll see if this guy can give me a little bit of his opinion. This is my friend Pat. He's a Boston Celtics fan. So here we go. Speaker. Oh, all right. No answer from Pat. We're going to try to get two more people on. Okay. We're going to start. Let's see who else. Who do I think would pick up is the real question. Let's start with. Okay, let's try this guy. We're going to try my good friend Paulo. I got like two more after this, and if it doesn't work, you know what? It's like almost 6 p.m. on a Monday. People are busy. I get it, but if you want to be on a podcast, you got to be ready to answer the call. Let's say. Your call has been. All right, we're 1 for 3. I got two more in the tank. Let's try this person. This is my good friend. We're not going to try him. Let's try. We'll try a recurring guest to the pod. How's that? We're going to try Corey Cantor. Corey's been on the pod before. I want to get his take on the Nets.
Hey, man, what's up?
Corey, you're live to tape on Spenny and the Nets.
Oh, wow. What's up?
I wanted, as quickly as you can, give me your take on how you think this season's going to be for the Nets. You can start with one word. If you could describe it in one word and then go from there.
Hopeful. I think that there's a lot of young talent. We're going to see how it shakes out, but also measured because I can't see us going too far without developing these players.
Hopeful and measured. I think those are two pretty strong ways to describe how most Nets fans feel. I brought up something earlier in the podcast. I'll ask you this and then I'll let you go. I'm sorry. Do you have 20 seconds?
Yeah.
I think that Jaeger Joman actually played too well in Summer League, and now Nets fans are too excited for him. Do you think there's any chance that he kind of disappoints us? And I don't want to say that he's worse or the same as year one, but do you think that expectations might be a little bit too high for the young sophomore out of BYU?
I don't think so, as long as you keep that measured in mind, right? I think, and that's why having MPJ and Randall is going to be important. If he can get a stat line of like 13, 14 points and maybe 5 rebounds and a couple assists, I think that's a really good stat line to shoot for. But, second year players, they often have a sophomore slump. So I don't think people should put too much of a high expectations on him because of Summer League. I think I'm definitely excited to see how he does. But yeah, people should be supportive of Yegor without going too over the top. Same with MBJ too, right? There might be people who expect too much given that he was the 6th pick.
I think that's fair. Personally, I think MBJ has a chance to be the rookie of the year. If he starts from the top, I think he's got a chance to just be more for his team than guys like DeBonsa. Obviously Peterson and Utah will have a shot at it, but yeah, I think it's easier for a guy like MB, like Cooper Flagg, last year, and Con Knippel were two important players on not great teams. So for MBJ, like the Nets are not expected to be good. I think a guy like that can make some noise. But Corey, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. And you and I will talk about the Nets very soon.
Thanks, Dan. Good luck. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye. All right. So we heard from a Knicks fan who thinks the Nets are going to be good. We heard from a Nets fan who thinks the Nets are going to be good. Now, let's see if there's one more person we can call. I might just let's see. I'm gonna try this one person and we'll see. This is my good friend Goo. That is his name, Goo.
Your call has
Yep.
been.
All right, we're done. We went 2 for 5. I think those are decent numbers. That was Let's Hear from Spen's Friends. And thanks for listening to episode 259 of Spenny and the Nets. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.